Gotta Run. This is Will Sanchez. My special guest tonight is Sara Dimmick. Sara is both a personal trainer and a triathlon coach. I ran into Sara in an interesting way. I was hanging out at the Jackrabbit Sports Facebook page, and I saw a posting about a charity that she was working on. It's called Gilder's Club. The name sounded familiar, so when I looked into it, discovered it was about Gildner Ratner, one of my favorite comedians from Saturday Night Live. Some of you may remember her tagline, "Never mind." I looked into it, and when I discovered Sara was also a runner, naturally I had to invite her to Gotta Run. So please welcome to the show, Sara Dimmick.
I will.
Sara, let's start by sharing with the audience a little bit about yourself. Where were you born? A little bit about your family, something about your schooling.
I grew up in Maryland in a small town called Jarrettsville, and it's farm country northeast of Baltimore. And, you know, growing up, I was a dancer. I took ballet lessons, and I would say that was primarily my fitness activity. I was very involved in dancing. I also was on the tennis team. So I did a little bit of that growing up as well.
This is when you were 5 or 6? Usually they start very young.
Yes, I started when I was 3. My mom actually lied and said I was 4 so that I could get into the class. So I started when I was 3, and I took with the same instructor until I was 18. And then ballet and a little bit of tap, jazz, modern dance. And we performed all over the community, doing all sorts of different shows and things like that. So it was really, really fun, and that's it led me into college. I went to school to be a professional dancer.
Where did you go to school?
I went to school at Florida State University in Tallahassee, and I was there for 4 years. Very intensive dance program, nationally ranked, very, very good. And after school, where do you move to be a dancer? But to New York. So I packed up my stuff, told my parents I was moving to New York. I think they thought I was totally insane. And I literally moved to New York with 2 suitcases, $2,000 on the Amtrak train.
Oh my gosh, this is where you were 21, 22?
Yeah, I was 21, right out of college. So.
And did you have a roommate? I mean, tell us what.
Well, the roommate at the time, actually one of my friends, was dancing in Italy. And I was communicating with her via written hand letter. This was really before email. And I said, oh, I want to move to New York. And I said, do you know where to live? And she said, well, I'm going to be in Italy dancing. Maybe you could take my spot in my apartment share so that I can still keep my apartment while I'm away, because she couldn't afford to be dancing in Italy and afford a New York apartment. So I took her apartment share. And it was this tiny, tiny studio on 54th Street with 2 other artists, and we were jammed in there. It was like a tiny little closet. So.
But you were now in the big city and excited.
Yeah, I mean, now I've been here 11 years, so things have taken me.
Okay.
You know?
What, did you find your first dance job, or what happened?
Well, I was dancing for small dance companies, modern dance companies. I produced some of my own work in Williamsburg. And I would say the highlight of my career was dancing at Lincoln Center in a show, so that was fun.
Excellent.
But over time, I was a trainer. I was a personal trainer to pay the bills. And over time, I just became more involved in personal training than I was dancing, and making more money. That's also good, you know, being a starving artist.
As a personal trainer?
As a personal trainer, so rather than being a starving artist, it was tough. So very rewarding job is personal training. You know, your clients lose a lot of weight, get healthier, rehab injuries. So over time, I just felt like this was such a better job for me. I knew a lot about it.
Well, how did you learn about personal training? Did you take additional training or classes?
Yes. Well, in school, I studied kinesiology, conditioning for dancers. I took a nutrition class. So more about training yourself as a dancer. So when I got to New York, I took certifications for personal training. I have several national certifications. And so that's how I got extra schooling on how to train others and coach others. And then I also became involved in triathlon. and I have my USAT triathlon certification as well.
So how many triathlons have you done?
Probably 20 or so, I would say.
Oh, my goodness.
And anywhere from sprint to half Ironman.
Well, any particular one that's really a highlight for you?
Escape from Alcatraz.
Oh, my goodness, really?
I did that twice.
My goodness. Well, tell us about that. I'm familiar with it
Yes.
because you start at the island of Alcatraz.
Yes. I saw it on TV first, and I thought to myself, this is when I first started doing triathlon, and I was only doing maybe sprints and Olympic distance. And I thought, oh my gosh, it's so exciting. You know, it's kind of scary. You jump into the San Francisco Bay. It's 50-degree water. There's sharks. You know, people didn't live that escaped Alcatraz. They died. And then you get onto shore, and then San Francisco is so hilly, so it's a very hilly, challenging bike course. And then you also run 8 miles. So again, challenging running course, very, very steep grades. And this was when I first started doing triathlon, so I had only done sprint and Olympic distance. It's kind of a modified Olympic. It's a 1.5 mile swim, and then 18-mile bike, and then an 8-mile run. It's a kind of a weird distance, but it's very special, special race. So I put my name in the lottery for the first year, and I thought, oh, there's no way I'm gonna get in. Maybe I'll go watch the race, and then maybe next year I'll do it. Well, of course, I got in, so then I had to do it, and I was so nervous and so scared, and trained with a coach for a while leading up to the race, and you know, then you're on the ferry boat with 2,000 other people waiting to jump into the water. And
of course, people were telling me nobody's ever escaped from Alcatraz.
Well, that's
alive.
the thing. Yes, it's very scary. They build it up. They make everybody very anxious. But it is a very safe race, and they tell you exactly how to swim and the route to swim, and they have safety boats and kayakers, and so it's a very safe and well-run race, and they don't let anybody stray or get caught in the current.
It would be bad for business if they lost an athlete.
Exactly, and I don't think anybody's gotten bitten by a shark or anything like that either.
Well, how do they manage the sharks? Do they give them a memo? Is it,
well,
please stay away?
I think it's, if there's 2,000 people jumping into the water at the same time with boats and things, I just don't think they're around. I did 2 of those races. One, I believe was in maybe 2007, and the next time I did it was 2009.
You said, this is so much fun, I want to do it again.
I wanted to do it again.
Time.
I did, and I beat my time the second time around, so I was very happy with that.
Excellent. Well, now you're back in the city, and now I think you have your own physical fitness club. How did you decide to make this a full-time career? Yeah,
well, after while I was dancing and doing personal training, and then I decided I really wanted to focus more of my energy into personal training, and dancing was more of a hobby. So I decided to just really focus on training, and so I did that for a while. And then I just thought, I was working at a big gym, and I said, what if I, started my own business? Because I had some ideas of things that I wanted to do that I wasn't able to do in a big club. I wanted to be a little bit more personalized. I wanted to start some programs that weren't offered in the gym and that I couldn't really do in the gym in a big facility like that. So I started my own business, and luckily about 85% of my clients, they came with me. They really enjoyed working with me, which was great. And I've grown ever since. I now have several trainers that work for me with us.
How long ago did you start your club?
2004 was when I started myself. And then in 2006, I started hiring some other trainers.
Wow, and that's a big move.
So yeah, so we're still around, and I think that's the thing, is my philosophy on fitness is, everybody can find something that they love to do. And then they just, that should be the focus. They should really like and enjoy their exercise. So maybe for some people it's running. Maybe some people don't like to run, but they like yoga or Pilates, or they like hiking or swimming. So everybody should find an activity that they like to do. And then that's the one thing or a few things that they focus on for fitness. I don't force people to do things that they don't like to do. I can recommend to people, well, maybe you should do some strength training. Maybe you should do this. But I think in the long run, for people to maintain their fitness and their health, they need to enjoy the activity that they're doing.
Well, you mentioned hiking. I think I saw a posting that you did a hiking adventure or a hiking group.
Yeah. I've done a few of these, and I've partnered with yoga instructors or Pilates instructors. This most recent one was with a Pilates instructor. And we rent a big house in the Catskills, and it's a group that's very into fitness, into hiking, and but it's really for anybody, any of our clients or anybody, any of our friends. And we have a chef, so we go up on like a Thursday or Friday, and we do fitness activities either in the house or on the lawn, or then we also do a big hike on Saturday or Sunday. And we have, we watch fitness videos and have lectures, and then also...
so you have a full agenda.
Yes, it's a whole retreat weekend, and it's centered around fitness and healthy eating. So the chef prepares healthy, local food, and it's a very fun event. And it's a small group. I think we had 10 people the last trip, so everybody really got to talk about fitness and share their different ideas on different things and their experiences.
And no experience required to do the hiking?
No, well, we did do a pretty strenuous hike, but that's because I knew I had a group that was experienced.
Okay.
In the past, we've had more of a mixed group, so it's more of a moderate hike. It's a couple hours,
Okay, so you tailor the event based on what the audience is coming along. That's terrific. Now, at some point, you got into charitable work?
Exactly. Well, we've been working with Gilda's Club here in New York City, and they contacted us because they got some charity marathon slots for the New York City Marathon. And they needed a coach for the team. They got the slots, and they started getting people signing up, and then they thought, oh, well, we don't know what to tell these people to do. So that's how they found us. And at the time, I had been looking for a charity to volunteer services, our coaching services for, and this one, it just kind of worked out all in the same timing. And so that's what we've been doing with the Gilda's Club.
What was the first year you did that?
That was 3 years ago. So this year in 2011 will be our third marathon.
Okay. So you did 2008 was the first. Wonderful. Well, tell us a little bit about Gilda's Club, because it's named after Gilda Radner, a comedian that died from cancer.
Yes.
So is this in support of cancer
It is,
survivors?
and it's people that are living with cancer now, and then it's also supporting people who have lost family members or parents to cancer. So, and it's down on Houston Street. There's a big red door. It was founded by Gilda Radner's foundation and Gene Wilder, her husband. And so it's anybody living with cancer or who has been affected by cancer. And they have support groups, they have meetings, they have different events, and it's really just a place where people can go and share experiences.
I live in New York City, and forever it's just fast-paced. So the minute that I walk into Gilda's Club, it's like all of that just stops. It feels comfortable and warm, and all my anxiety is like left at the doorstep.
We do yoga, we do meditation, we do art. It makes you become what you think you'll never become.
It's hard, and it gets very lonely. You feel like you're the only one. But then I started coming to my weekly meetings at Gilda's Club, and everyone in the room says, I went through the same thing. You can come to your Gilda's Club meeting and take your hair off because it's hot and it's itchy and uncomfortable. And you don't have to feel like someone's staring at your big bald head.
It's a club.
It's a club. They can go and hang out, and it's free. All of their services are free, so which is very good because when you're thinking about health care and the expenses on your family when you're going through something like this, this is a place where you can get support and ideas on how to get different treatments or just even navigating the medical system.
Oh my gosh, that is complicated.
So,
yes.
yeah.
So it sounds like this is open to all sexes, men, women, children, ages.
Exactly. Yeah, and then they have different, different community programs for different groups. So, and they even have exercise classes, yoga classes, things like that too.
I think they now open up a satellite offices in Brooklyn. And
they have different satellite offices. They're actually national now, so they have all different in different cities.
I was first diagnosed in 2002. I started getting depressed and I couldn't tell anybody about it. So I decided to do something about it. Going to someplace in Brooklyn made it more attractive.
When I became a member of Gilda's Club, I lived in Park Slope. And the clubhouse for Gilda's Club was just 2 blocks from my house.
I attend Gilda's Club in the Bronx. Having the site so close to home has been incredible. You get to know members, not only your friends, they're your neighbors. They're like family and they're so close.
Well, we went to Gilda's Club because my mom passed away. Mickey Land is like a place where you can have fun, but you can also talk about stuff that you can't talk about at school. And you're just kind of free. You can play on the blocks and you can play with children.
We decorate hats, we eat cupcakes on people's birthdays, we play games.
As I saw how the children were acting with their mother having cancer and how I said, no, I really need to get some help for them. And that's when we started coming to Gilda's Club, and I decided to come also.
The emotional support is very helpful because it helps you get through the day, and it puts a smile on your face when you leave.
When people come in here and I tell them that all these programs are free, you can see just on their faces like, wow, this is a wonderful thing.
Everything else costs so much, and Gilda's Club is just there for you to rely on, to turn to show up at and say, help me.
Wonderful to hear. Like I said, I lost track of that club, and it's wonderful that they expanded to not only to all the boroughs, but in other cities. And so now, as you mentioned, they have slots in the New York City Marathon. So that means people would agree to raise a certain amount of funds in exchange for the terrific training, and you and your team provides that.
Exactly. We do group runs for the group that are raising money and on the team for the marathon, and then we have different meetings to talk about nutrition for training for a marathon, and also we just actually had a meeting at Jackrabbit, so we talked about the different types of equipment and running shoes that you might need, and the gels and all of the nutrition products or special clothing that you might need. So we try to cover all aspects of the preparation for the marathon so that people are really prepared, because we want everybody to have a successful race.
Right. That's to get to the start line injury-free and enjoy the race.
And they've also been doing other events. They got into the 5-borough bike tour, so we also coached a cycling team for the Gilda's Club.
Oh, okay, excellent.
So they're looking at expanding their offerings of the different fitness races.
The partner for the New York area.
Exactly.
And obviously your model for the other cities, because they want to repeat the success.
Yep.
That first year that you did, or maybe in all the years you said you're doing it, do you run with the group at the marathon? What's it like on marathon day when you got all this excited people?
Yeah, well, the first year, myself and one of my other coaches were the head coaches of the team, and I didn't run, actually, because I actually had gotten into triathlon because I said, well, my body's kind of shot from dancing, and I like to run, but triathlon is more my sport. It's more well-rounded. I need the swimming. I need the cycling. I don't think my body can handle 26 miles. I just don't think I can do it. So I coached the team the first year, and I was also doing triathlons. So I would run a little bit with the group, but I wasn't doing the super long runs. That's why I let my other coach do that. And so then last year, I had done my second escape from Alcatraz, and it was just so exciting and so great, and I felt very healthy and strong, and I thought, well, I can get a charity slot with Gilda's Club. maybe I should run the marathon this year. So I said, you know what, that's what I'm going to do this year. So I said, Gilda's Club, give me one of the charity slots. I'm going to be on the team as more than just a coach, but as a participant. 2010.
Okay.
And so I ran with the team as a participant, obviously, and as a coach, and it was great. I mean, the New York City Marathon is one of the best races, probably the best marathon in the world. So it was a great experience, and you know, my body for the most part held up. You know, I had some issues. I had to rehab a little bit afterwards, but it was a great experience, and I think you know, now I can say I've done a marathon, and I even said, you know, I shouldn't say I won't do another one, because I might do another one someday.
Excellent. And of course you had your own shirts.
Yeah, we had the Gilda's Club shirts.
Put your name on it so people could go Sarah.
I did. I put my name across the top with the masking tape, and all throughout the race people were yelling my name. Gilda's Club had along the race route different places where you would see people in the red shirts, and they had the Gilda Radner hair on, and they were cheering with everybody. So they were different stations. This year, I'm actually going to be at mile 19 with my group, with the Gilda's Club and with Physical Equilibrium, holding signs, and because that's all you want when you're running there. You just want to see your friends, and you want to see people you know along the race route. So.
What other stories can you share with us in terms of fitness? Anything unusual happened that either scared you or really excited you?
Well, I just recently ran into Dina Kester, who is our U.S. Olympian and huge runner. And, you know, it's funny because runners and triathletes that are, you know, our top Olympians are not necessarily the most recognizable as far as, you know, sports celebrities. So I was in the Seattle airport, and I was sitting having a meal before the plane came to JFK, and I saw this woman walk in, and I thought, oh, that looks exactly like Dina Kester. And I said to my boyfriend, there's Dina Kester. And he said, who?
And he's not a runner.
No, he's not a runner. And I said, Dina Kester is like very big Olympian, and she's, you know, she's run New York City, and she's, you know, she's a huge, huge runner. And he said, okay. And I said, you have to get my picture. I have to go over there. So, you know, I waited for a good time. And I walked over to her. I said, are you Dina Kester? She said, yes. And so we talked a little bit. She was on her way to New York to do some marathon preparations. She's actually going to be announcing the marathon this year, not running. She's going to run, I think, the day before in the Poland Spring Kickoff.
Okay, the 5K.
In the 5K. She's going to race in that, but the next day for the marathon, she'll be announcing. So she was on her way here to New York to do some marathon prep work, promotional and TV things,
It's amazing. The New York City Marathon, it takes many, many weeks of preparation. It's a big deal. It's over, I guess now to 40,000 runners. This year, you're not running the marathon. You do your work at table 19, on mile 19.
Mile 19, and actually tomorrow we have our last long run with our charity group. So we'll be meeting, and we'll be doing the last few miles of the race course. I think it's really good to have that mental preparation of running the last few miles, so you know what the end is like. I think your adrenaline and excitement carry you through the first part of the marathon, and then the fatigue and the tired and the pain starts setting in, and so you need that mental, like, oh, okay, I've done this before. This is the end. I'm almost there. And those are that's the good thing about, you know, finishing in the Central Park, because a lot of runners train in Central Park. They know the end of the race, because once you get into the park, they know that they're almost there. They know that they've run that loop several times.
Right.
So
now they're excited. They're going to leave the park to go down Jopatron to see themselves before they re-enter the park. And make sure to tell them to make sure that before they see their picture, to check their faces. The smear-free. You want to look good for when you get to that point.
I tried to look as good as I could as I saw myself on the Jumbotron.
Oh, that should be so exciting. And hopefully you'll have good weather.
Yes.
I think last year was good weather.
Last year was very, very good weather. We hope for a very dry, cool day. That's what you want, dry. Very dry.
Well, let's we'll keep our fingers crossed. Excellent. Now, what are some of your future challenges going for 2012 and beyond?
We've just started a new program for post-rehab personal training. And this is, something that's good for people who are getting out of physical therapy. Maybe they are triathletes or runners who have dealt with issues, maybe IT band syndrome, ACL tear, Achilles tendon tear, maybe herniated disc. So we work with people that have finished physical therapy, so have gotten out of the acute stage, and are relatively pain-free in their normal life, but maybe aren't pain-free in their athletic life. And so then we slowly transition them from the physical therapist back into the gym or back into their training regimen, which they're doing. So we really work with athletes, and then also just regular normal people, maybe people with, like I said, herniated disc, rotator cuff tear, other issues like that, hip replacement, knee replacement. So these are some of the people that we work with in the gym.
Well, how does somebody find you? Are you through referrals from doctors?
Yeah,
or other
through doctors and physicians and physical therapists. So we have some connections with certain people in New York, and they've seen how we work with their patients, and they really like it. So that's how we get some of our referrals. But then, we're also out there on the web, and my trainers do seminars and do speaking events, and so some people find us through there. The Multi-Sport Expo, and also at the Jackrabbit running show, we had speakers. So.
Yes, that was a great show.
Yeah.
And I hope they'll repeat it this year. I know at least Zimmerman wants to. He might change the venue. I had him as a guest.
Okay.
And we talked about it. He's very excited over that.
Yeah, I think it was very successful for the first year, and I think it's something that the community really would enjoy. So. Was
there anything else you wanted to share with us?
Just eventually, getting our own space in New York City and having a nice new facility for our athletes and for our clients.
So right now you have shared space?
We have shared space on 57th and Lexington at a personal training gym.
Okay.
But we also travel to people's homes as well. So we see clients in their homes. So we're working on our own facility in Midtown. And so hopefully that should be open soon. The next time I see you, we'll be out of there. So
great. Will you invite me to the grand opening?
Absolutely.
And maybe Dina Castor will do the honors.
That would be
of
fabulous if I could have Dina Castor at my facility opening.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for dropping by. I wish you all the success in the world with the Gilda's Club, and thank you so much for promoting that very, very worthwhile charity, helping the whole family. Thank you so much.
Thank you.